Hi everyone, Creaty here. So, since Macy's is gonna reveal the first new unit for the 2025 Macy's Parade pretty soon, personally I don't think it's gonna be this summer. It might be in September, because that's normally when they start revealing the new units. So, since the new units are gonna be revealed soon, I wanted to make a video talking about balloon possibilities for the 2025 Macy's Parade and what I think of them. A couple of my friends in the Macy's Parade community have made these types of videos before, so I figured, why not join in and make my own? And that's exactly what I'm doing. So, without further ado, here's some character possibilities and ideas for the 2025 Macy's Parade, and what I think about them. Also, I just want to remind everyone watching this video that these are not requests for Macy's, and these are not confirmed new balloons for the 2025 parade. These are just predictions and ideas that people on the Macy's Parade Wiki have been talking about. Let me say it again. This is not a request for Macy's, and this is not confirmed information. These are all just possibilities. Macy's can do whatever they want with their new balloons. So I think the best way to start off this list is by talking about the most popular characters. These are the characters that almost everyone in the community, or in some cases everyone in the community, is predicting. The first character I'm going to talk about is the most likely new balloon possibility, and the one I'm talking about is of course a new SpongeBob balloon. Out of all the characters on this list, a new SpongeBob is the most likely. SpongeBob's been in almost every parade since 2004, and he's one of the mainstays. The third balloon already made 6 appearances, and there's a very likely chance it could retire after the 2024 parade, just like how the second SpongeBob retired after 6 appearances. Everyone in the community is predicting a new SpongeBob this year, and there's a very likely chance that a new SpongeBob will happen. Design-wise, I think SpongeBob will finally be joined by his best friend Patrick for the first time, just like how Pikachu was joined by Eevee, and they've been together since Pikachu's 4th balloon made its first appearance in 2021. I think it makes a lot of sense to have Patrick join SpongeBob this year, so that way he won't be jealous of his famous best friend anymore. Overall, I think a new SpongeBob makes a lot of sense, and this is 100% the most likely character on this list to get a balloon. I think it'll definitely happen, and I'll be surprised if it doesn't, especially because Nickelodeon uses him in a lot of promotions. I mean, he's literally the face of the network. Another very popular possibility is Kermit the Frog. A new Kermit the Frog is another popular choice that a lot of people in the community are predicting. A lot of people are predicting a new Kermit this year. Even if Kermit isn't at the top of my list for new 2025 balloons, I could still see a new Kermit happening. As someone who grew up watching the Muppets, I think Kermit would be a great character to bring back, especially because of his long history with the parade. This year marks the Muppets' 70th anniversary. I'd love to see this happen, but I don't know if it will, because I don't know if Disney is planning on bringing Kermit back, especially because Minnie Mouse is already in the parade. Besides, Disney doesn't really care about the Muppets as much anymore. The last big Muppets project they worked on was Muppets Most Wanted, and recently they tore down Muppet Vision 3D, which was the last project Jim Henson worked on before his death. So even though I'm not on board with the idea of a new Kermit balloon, it would still be cool. Next up are some other likely characters. These characters aren't as highly requested as SpongeBob and Kermit, but I still think that these characters have a very likely chance of getting in the parade. The first character in this category that I'm going to talk about is Elphaba or Glinda from Wicked. Universal basically lost their minds when marketing the first part of the Wicked movie by throwing it everywhere. Since the second part is coming out this year, expect them to go crazy again when marketing it. I think one of the things they're going to do is make an Elphaba balloon or a Glinda balloon. I think either one would work, but in my opinion, Elphaba seems like the better choice. Also, Universal owns NBC, which makes a Wicked balloon even more likely. Plus, the first Wicked movie did very well at the box office, so a Wicked balloon could also be in the parade to celebrate the success of the first part. I can totally see a Wicked balloon happening. It makes a lot of sense. The movie's being promoted like crazy, the second part is coming out soon, and of course it's owned by Universal, which makes it twice as likely. I can imagine all the theater kids are gonna go nuts if a Wicked balloon gets announced. Next up is one of the most popular characters in the world with girls, Hello Kitty. She hasn't been in the parade since 2017, and honestly, I miss her a lot. She's one of the most underrated balloons in the parade, and she doesn't get enough recognition. Besides, Hello Kitty is still popular with not just teenagers, but also young girls. I mean, did you see how chaotic the fight for the Hello Kitty blankets was? In my opinion, a new Hello Kitty balloon is very likely, and I would love to see her come back, because I loved her first and second balloons. Mainly the second balloon, because that was the balloon I grew up with. Another idea people in the community have been talking about a lot is a new version of Shrek to promote the recently announced Shrek 5. This makes a lot of sense. DreamWorks has characters in the parade every year, and the first balloon that they ever sponsored for the parade was Shrek, who was added in 2007. Shrek paved the way for a lot of DreamWorks characters, including his first replacement, which was Po from Kung Fu Panda. A couple years ago, Po became the first DreamWorks character to get a second balloon to promote Kung Fu Panda 4, and there's a good chance Shrek might be next. He could also be Po's replacement because everyone thinks Po is done for after last year's parade. It makes sense. Plus, Macy's is bringing back a lot of classic characters in preparation for the 100th parade, and Shrek might be one of them. So I think a new Shrek balloon is very likely, and I'll be shocked if it doesn't happen. Of course, it's not going to be based on the original design. It's going to be based on the new design, of course. Okay, this might sound stupid at first, but it would totally work. Jonesy from Fortnite would be a perfect video game character for the parade. Fortnite is one of the most popular video games, especially with kids. It's one of the biggest video games of the 2020s, and a lot of people around the world play it. There's a lot of skins from the game that would be perfect, especially the Winterfest skins, but I think the perfect one to go with would be Jonesy. He's basically the face of the game, and one of the most popular skins from it. Imagine a giant Jonesy balloon hitting a clip on Central Park West. That would be so cool. They could also go with another one of the default skins like Spitfire or one of the girls, but Jonesy is the most likely one since he's the one that everyone's familiar with. Speaking of video games, there's a lot of video game characters that Gen Alpha wants to see in the parade. In addition to Fortnite, Gen Alpha kids also love playing Minecraft, Roblox, Among Us, and Fall Guys. All these games make sense, especially Minecraft because of the massive success of the Minecraft movie. Surprisingly, just like Fortnite, none of these games have ever been represented in the parade, which is especially shocking because according to analytics, kids that are part of Generation Alpha are the biggest gaming enthusiasts out of all the generations. It's very strange that none of these characters are in the parade. Pikachu and Eevee shouldn't be the only video game characters in the parade. Also, the last time there was a completely new video game character balloon in the parade was 2015 with Red from Angry Birds. There hasn't been a new video game character in the parade for 10 years now. It seems like the only video game Macy's cares about is Pokemon, even though there are lots of other video games that Gen Alpha is interested. And they're actually more popular than Pokemon. I think now is the time a character from one of these games joins the parade. I think all these games are very likely, but out of all of them, I think the most likely ones are probably Minecraft and Roblox. Because, of course, the Minecraft movie made Minecraft extremely popular, even though it's always been extremely popular, and Roblox is also very popular with kids. I mean, there is literally a Roblox Macy's parade. A new Big Bird or Elmo is also something that I can see happening. In my personal opinion, I think either one of these two is more likely than Kermit. Personally, I think Big Bird is more likely than Elmo because he was in the parade as a balloon for almost 20 years. Also, Macy's is bringing back a lot of classic characters, as you know, in preparation for the 100th parade. And Big Bird is definitely someone that I can see coming back because he was a mainstay in the parade for a long time. I'm also bringing up Elmo because he's the face of modern Sesame Street, and he's been used in a lot of Sesame Street promotions since the 90s. And I also heard that Sesame Street's going to bring back Elmo's World, so he could promote that. Surprisingly, unlike Big Bird, Elmo has never gotten a balloon in the parade, which I am very surprised about. I think an Elmo balloon's long overdue, and now that Netflix owns the broadcasting rights for Sesame Street, and they always have a new balloon in the parade every year, maybe this could be the year that Elmo finally gets his first balloon in the parade. It would be pretty awesome seeing the first ever Elmo balloon, although I still think Big Bird is more likely. Okay, next up is two characters that I'm surprised not a lot of people are predicting. Limu, Emu, and Doug from Liberty Mutual Insurance make a lot of sense for the parade, and I'll tell you why. I don't know why nobody's predicting them, because there was a commercial with them where they were balloons in a parade. Da-doy! Okay, I'm just kidding. I don't actually think they're going to be balloons in this year's parade. I just had to throw them in here because why not? I think they're going to be in the parade, but not as balloons. Instead, I think they'll be on a big float sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance. It actually makes a lot of sense. And besides, if they were a balloon, it would be a wasted slot. So having them appear on a float would make a lot more sense. Next up is Kid Cowboy. In case you don't know who he is, he's the character from the YouTube exclusive Nickelodeon preschool series of the same name. As we all know, Nickelodeon has a lot of properties in the Macy's Parade, and since Kid Cowboy is very popular with preschoolers, it makes a lot of sense to have Kid Cowboy in the parade. Or if Nickelodeon wants to add a character that older audiences are familiar with, they could go with Aang from Avatar: The Last Airbender. I think this one's very likely. Aang's one of my predictions, and I think he has a very good chance of being in the parade. Aang makes a lot of sense, because it's Avatar: The Last Airbender's 20th anniversary, and they seem to be going all out. Plus, there's a new Avatar series called Avatar 7 Havens, which is supposed to take place after The Legend of Korra. And they also announced a new movie called The Legend of Aang, which comes out in early 2026. Besides, Avatar: The Last Airbender has never been represented in the parade, so Aang would be a great choice for a new franchise rep this year. Also, Avatar is kind of like an anime, and kids love anime, so that's also a good reason why Aang would make a lot of sense. Speaking of which, I have a couple ideas in mind for new anime balloons. First is Naruto. Naruto is one of the biggest and most popular animes of all time. He's also one of the most iconic anime characters, and he's usually one of the first things that comes to mind when people think of anime characters. I think Naruto has a very likely chance of becoming the parade's next anime character, and I'll be pretty surprised if a Naruto balloon doesn't happen. Another cool anime balloon idea would be Yuji Itadori from Jujutsu Kaisen. A Yuji balloon would be so cool. It makes sense to have him in the parade because Season 3 of Jujutsu Kaisen comes out this fall. Plus, Universal Studios Japan has some Jujutsu Kaisen rides and attractions, and since NBC is of course owned by Universal, I think it makes sense to have Yuji in the parade. Besides, Universal Studios Japan also has One Piece rides and attractions, and Luffy's in the Macy's Parade, so it's all coming together. And lastly, this one isn't as likely as Naruto or Yuji, but I still want to bring up Ichigo from Bleach. Bleach is also a very popular anime, and it's back this year after a hiatus, so now would be a good time for Ichigo to join the parade. He could also promote Thousand Year Blood War Season 4 when it comes out. Okay, a lot of you guys might disagree with me here, but it's totally normal to disagree with me here because everyone has their own opinions, and this is my personal opinion. So feel free to disagree in the comments. I know most of these predictions are giant balloon predictions, but I also have a couple other possibilities in mind for new novelty balloons and balloonicles. And for a while, I've been predicting Stanley Cup balloonicles and Sephora makeup and skincare novelty balloons. This might sound stupid, but it makes perfect sense. Stanley Cups and Sephora are two things that millions of young girls are obsessed with. Since late 2023, Sephora makeup and skincare have been the top interest for thousands of young girls between the ages of 3 and 14. They enjoy shopping at Sephora stores, buying and trying out the different products, filming Get Ready With Me's, and talking to their friends at recess about their favorite contours, moisturizers, bronzers, and lip masks. They're also obsessed with the viral Stanley Tumbler collection, also known as Stanley Cups, which is one of the most popular product lines of the 2020s. In addition to teenagers, Stanley Cups are also insanely popular with young girls, and since 2023, they, along with makeup and skincare from from Sephora are currently the #1 most wanted Christmas gifts for girls. I think both of these could happen. Sephora and Stanley Cups are names that almost every young girl is familiar with, and I bet a lot of them would want to see both of those things in the Macy's parade. I think Stanley Cups would work as balloonicles, and they could also make makeup and skincare novelty balloons to go with a big Sephora float, because they don't want it to be the same size as the Haribo and Baby Shark floats. Both of these units would make a lot of young girls very happy, because I know a lot of young girls really want to see skincare balloons and Stanley Cup balloonicles, because they love those things. This is another new balloonicle possibility that has a very good chance of happening, and I'd say these are more likely to happen than the Stanley Cups. It's the Squishmallows. For those of you that have been living under a rock, Squishmallows are a series of stuffed pillow-like toys that have become one of the most popular toy brands in the world ever since they exploded in popularity in the early 2020s. Billions of kids, teens, and adults from all around the world, mostly girls, all have their own Squishmallow collections, which really comes to show how huge this brand really is. These cute toys would definitely work as balloonicles. They could take the most popular or main Squishmallow characters and turn them into giant balloonicles. It would be so adorable, and everyone that loves collecting Squishmallows would absolutely love to see this. Netflix always has units in the parade every year. I think there will definitely be something new from Netflix this year, but I don't know exactly what Netflix could add to the parade, because I'm not familiar with Netflix's original shows or movies, but I think Netflix will definitely add something. Next up are some characters that nobody in the community wants to see, but they're still very likely. So these are characters that a lot of people in the community don't want to see in the parade, but I don't know, for some reason I still think they have a likely chance of getting in the parade because they're popular with kids. The first character in this category that I'm going to talk about is a character that a lot of people don't like, but kids are obsessed with, which makes him perfect new balloon for the parade. And that character is JJ from CoComelon. CoComelon is one of the biggest YouTube channels around the world with billions of subscribers, and it's also the most watched kids show on Netflix. Even though teens and adults hate CoComelon, kids love it, and a lot of kids want to see JJ in the parade. I'm surprised JJ isn't in it already, considering how huge CoComelon is. CoComelon isn't my cup of tea, mainly because I'm too old for it, but I can see a JJ balloon happening. It makes a lot of sense for him to be in the parade, mostly because the balloons are for the kids. Now that Red Titan's gone, he needs a replacement, and I think JJ is the perfect character to take Red Titan's spot in the lineup. The next character is a new Barney. Barney has been in the parade before in 2 different designs. Recently, Mattel made an animated Barney reboot called Barney's World, which is surprisingly doing a lot better than I thought it would. I've also noticed lately that, as you know, Macy's has been bringing back some characters that haven't been in the parade for a while, like Spider-Man and Dora. And Barney is someone that I can definitely see them bringing back. Even though I don't like Barney, I still think that he has a good chance of coming back. But here's the thing, Barney is one of the most infamous balloons, not just because he was and still is despised by adults, but also because of, well, I'm not going to say it, you already know. Listen, I'm way too old for Barney, but I still think a new Barney balloon of him and his Barney's World design is very likely. The only con with the new Barney balloon, however, is that if it does happen, everyone's going to try to recreate the viral clip of Barney dying in 1997, and what they're going to do is throw a bunch of tacks and sharp things at the balloon to try to get it to pop. But I know Macy's wouldn't allow that, but I don't know, for some reason I can still see that happening in my mind. Did I mention that adults still hate him? And speaking of big purple mascots, next up is Grimace. A lot of people are tired of seeing Ronald McDonald, and I can understand why, because McDonald's doesn't use him in promotions or commercials anymore. He's also become even more controversial lately because now he's always stopping the parade every time he reaches 6th Avenue. So because of how problematic Ronald has become in recent years, many people in the community think he should put the fries in the bag. A couple people, including myself, have brought up Grimace as a likely replacement for Ronald. At the beginning of the year, I included Grimace in my predictions, mainly because he's exploded in popularity recently, and unlike Ronald, kids nowadays know who Grimace is thanks to TikTok. But thinking about it now, I'm doubting it. I don't think Macy's is ready to make a Grimace balloon yet. And besides, I think Grimace would also be a wasted slot because he's a corporate character and the corporate balloons usually aren't popular. So right now, I can't see Grimace happening. Here's another likely replacement for Red Titan, Blippi. I'm doubting this one. Blippi's a real person and not a cartoon, which means he won't translate as well if he becomes a balloon. Also, Blippi is owned by the same company that owns Cocomelon, and while both of them are extremely popular with kids, Cocomelon has more subscribers, it's animated, and it's more well-known than Blippi, so that gives Cocomelon the edge over Blippi. Next up, here's some characters that people in the community want to see, but aren't as likely as all the characters I talked about earlier. A lot of people want to see Sonic the Hedgehog come back again. While it would be cool, I can't see it happening. It was great seeing the 2011 Sonic balloon return in 2021, but even with all the new Sonic projects, Sonic didn't stay to promote him. Maybe Sonic could come back in 2026, but for 2025, I can't see him appearing this year. I'm sorry, guys. Here's another very popular prediction with the community. Lots of people are talking about a Jeffrey the Giraffe balloon. A couple of people in the community think the Toys R Us float will be replaced with the Jeffrey balloon. It would be cool, but I can't see it happening. I mean, look at him. He's a giraffe, and giraffes are known for having long necks. And that long neck he's got won't protect him from hitting lampposts. There's nothing wrong with predicting a Jeffrey balloon, and I'm fine with people predicting Jeffrey, but we don't want a repeat of the Cat in the Hat in '97, and because of how tall this character is, it would be easy for him to get punctured and injure someone, so that's why I think Jeffrey won't make it in as a balloon, and they'll just bring back the current Toys R Us float instead. Another popular prediction with the community is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. In my personal opinion, a Rudolph balloon wouldn't make sense now. I mean, he has no big events coming up. His 60th anniversary was just last year, but he still wouldn't have made it in the 2024 parade because of Extraordinary Nora. In my personal opinion, Rudolph is not very likely because, like I said, he has no big events coming up, no new movies, nothing, so that's why I can't see a Rudolph balloon happening. Next is one of the most popular new balloon predictions of the past 3 years, which is a new version of Garfield. If Garfield were to get a new balloon, he would have already got one by now, but you never know, the 100th parade's coming up and Macy's is bringing back a lot of classic characters, and Garfield has had a long history with the parade, so maybe we could see Garfield come back, but for now, I'm doubting a new Garfield. Next up is Tony the Tiger from Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. I'm doubting Tony because he would seem like a wasted slot. The main reason why I don't like Ronald McDonald, the Sinclair Oil Dinosaur, and the Pillsbury Doughboy is because they always waste balloon slots every year, even though kids don't care about them. They want to see characters from cartoons and animated films, not corporate mascots. Like, again, this is just my personal opinion. So it seems like a wasted opportunity to have them instead of characters that kids know and like. I heard Frosted Flakes does a lot of advertising on CBS and other networks owned by Paramount, like Nickelodeon. But if Tony was in the parade, he would get the same reaction from kids as Ronald, Dino, and the Doughboy. The kids just wouldn't care because they don't know who he is. Okay, I think you get the idea, so moving on. A lot of people have said they want to see an Optimus Prime balloon. It makes sense, because Transformers is one of the biggest media franchises, but I can't really see one happening because an Optimus Prime balloon would be challenging for Macy's to make. But if you really want to see an Optimus Prime balloon, well, I'm here to tell you that you can! He lives in Detroit! He's in their Thanksgiving parade every year, so come on down to Detroit to see their Optimus Prime balloon! Next up is Barbie. I'm doubting this one. I don't know how she would work. I know the movie was huge, but I don't think she has anything big coming up. Besides, dolls have been replaced with skincare, so I can't see a Barbie balloon happening. This is another character that a couple of people have brought up, and that's Judy Hopps from Zootopia, because Zootopia 2 is coming out this November. However, I can't see this one happening either. Disney isn't as crazy about the parade as Universal and Paramount are. They have some units in the parade, like Minnie Mouse and the Disney Cruise Line float, but I don't think they want to have too many units in the parade. So I think Disney will just sponsor Minnie Mouse as their 2025 balloon to promote the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse reboot. I can't see Harry Potter happening either. Sorry, Harry Potter fans, but I don't know how a Harry Potter balloon will work. I know the series is super popular, but since he's a human and not an animated character, it means he won't translate into a balloon as well. I know there's a new HBO series coming next year, but I don't know. I just can't see a Harry Potter balloon happening anytime soon. I think Macy's is better off making a Wicked balloon. And now for the last category, which is the unlikely characters category. In my opinion, I don't think these characters will ever appear in the parade, or if they've already appeared in the parade, I don't think Macy's is going to bring them back again, either because of the current state of the companies and studios that own the characters, or because of other reasons. The first character in the unlikely characters category is the most requested character ever. If you're in the Macy's Parade community, you probably know at least one person that's predicting Mario as one of the new balloons. Every year, a lot of people in the community always say, "This is the year Mario finally gets in the parade," and they predict him every year, but the balloon never happens. People keep begging and begging for Mario to make it in the parade, but he doesn't make it in. And the reason why is because Nintendo is very protective of their characters, and Mario's one of them. But then you'll be asking, but Creaty, is Nintendo fine with having Pikachu and Eevee in the parade? Probably not, because they don't even sponsor Pikachu and Eevee. Instead, their sponsor is a side company, and I'm not talking about Game Freak. Every time Macy's asks Nintendo, is it okay if we make a Mario balloon, they always either say no or ignore him. But no matter how many times Nintendo says no, a bunch of people still predict him, acting like they don't know that Nintendo doesn't care about the parade. So people can... It's totally fine to predict a Mario balloon. I'm not stopping you from predicting him, because, again, this is just my personal opinion. And in my personal opinion, I don't think a Mario balloon's ever going to happen. Now, let's talk about Bugs Bunny. So, in previous years, Bugs Bunny was a character that could potentially happen, but ended up not happening at all. But as of right now, I don't think Bugs Bunny will come back in the parade, mainly because of the current state of Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers is in a really bad state right now, mainly because of their CEO. And they've been deleting and removing a lot of shows from their streaming service, including a lot of Looney Tunes cartoons and series. So Warner Brothers has a bad reputation now, and I think this could mean that we won't be getting a balloon from them anytime soon. That means no Bugs Bunny, no Daffy Duck, no Superman, no Teen Titans Go, no Batwheels, nothing from Warner Brothers because of the state they're in right now. The next unlikely character I'm going to talk about is Pomni from The Amazing Digital Circus. A lot of people don't think Pomni will ever get in the parade. Even though I like Digital Circus, I don't think a Pomni balloon will happen. I don't think Macy's knows about Digital Circus, and I doubt Gooseworks is interested in the parade, so when you add those together, it equals a Pomni balloon not happening. I don't think the first indie character balloon is gonna happen until... I don't know. Sorry to any members of the Digital Circus fanbase watching this video, but in my personal opinion, I don't think Pomni's gonna happen anytime soon. Or Mel from the Gaslight District. And while we're on the topic of online characters that have zero chance of making it in the parade, next up is... Skibbity Toilet. I can't believe I said that out loud. There's no way he'll ever make it in the parade. I know the series is mainstream pop culture media now, and a lot of kids want to see him, but he just doesn't make any sense. Like, who wants to see a giant toilet with a creepy face in the Macy's parade? There's no way Macy's themselves would ever allow that to happen. It's never gonna happen. It's no shot. I don't want to talk about this brain-destroying toilet anymore, so moving on to the most unlikely character on this list. And now for the last character on this list, who I consider to be the most unlikely character out of all the characters I talked about. I'd even say he's more unlikely than both Mario and Skibidi Toilet. This is another character that will never return to the parade anytime soon. It's the Cat in the Hat. I don't think I need to explain why the Cat in the Hat will never appear in the parade again. He's the last character Macy's would want to bring back. If he comes back, the first thing everyone will think of is what happened in 1997, which I will not talk about because we don't talk about 1997. I know there's a new Cat in the Hat movie coming out next year, but if 1997 didn't happen, he would have been a lot more likely. However, because 1997 happened, I don't think the Cat in the Hat will ever come back to the parade. And that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching, guys, and let's see how many of these characters make it into the parade.